Welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that loves to talk about bodily functions. What is happening? Are these people legit adults? Like, do we have verification for that? Because a lot of what was said in this part 2 was absolutely disgusting. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 35 Total Madness Reunion Part 2, also known as Behind the Madness, also known as a segment that they used to produce on The Challenge after every season called They Should Have Shown, which was something very similar to what we saw on last night's Behind the Madness, where they got a whole bunch of unseen footage about house life and some of the eliminations or daily challengers or fights that happened within the house that was unseen, and they bring back people to talk about the experiences. And so with that being said, I'm gonna kind of be doing what I did last week for the reunion part 1, where I'm gonna be talking about some of the stuff that happens. I'm not gonna go over every little thing that they talked about. Let's start off with topic 1, which was bunker life. A lot of people were talking about how it was tougher than some of the actual challenges. Why didn't we see this? Why didn't we see this aspect of the show a little bit more? I thought that what was said and what was shown on this Behind the Madness did a great job of showing how tough life was in the bunker, with Corey and Bayleigh having panic attacks about stuff that happened inside the bunker. People were talking about how cold it was. The plumbing was terrible. It was down like 3 times and they had to bring in porta potties. Why didn't we see any of this? Like, we should have seen something to that effect of like them having to run outside, talk about it in their confessionals. Why didn't we see the Corey panic attack that happened? Because that would have made a lot more sense. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of these scenes, so that way we would have understood how tough the bunker life was. I feel as though that in the beginning, before the season even began, there was a lot of people talking about the bunker and how terrible it was, and then we don't see a whole lot of the turmoil or frustrations or anything that happens within the bunker. It just didn't come across to the audience how tough bunker life was, and I think that is just a fault on MTV and their editing process yet again. Then we talked about how the bunker is haunted, with Big T talking about the ghost that was Ed, who was a 97-year-old spirit. They re-showed the Ouija board scene. And then we get a few of the challengers talking about their tips on where to get your bed within the challenge house. We had Bananas talking about how you want a bottom bunk, somewhere preferably in the corner next to a closet space, because Kayla says that you want the most closet space in there. Wes said to keep your eye out on who's kind of grouping up with who and who's talking with who, because that's when you're trying to figure out who you want to align with or who's has the most people on their side. And also we had Kyle talking about how you want to be maybe close to your friends, but you would want to have your friends spread out through different rooms. So when people are talking, or the other side of the house or other alliances are talking, maybe you could be having somebody in there being like a double agent. The next group of topics that we go about is all the hookups that happened within the house that we did not see, which is again very upsetting. I mean, I think back to the old seasons of the challenge, and we are seeing people kiss, do truth or dare, all this different stuff on camera during the season, and then we got nothing to that effect within this season. We had a whole thing about Josh and Melissa, how they had a snog and a cuddle. Nothing really came about that whole situation, as we saw later on in the season. Melissa did not like Josh. They did not see the things on the same side. And of course, Melissa, as the season went on, kind of gravitated more towards Kyle. But Josh and Melissa did have a snog, and she rated Josh's kissing a -2 out of 10. That is terrible. Nany and Melissa kissed a lot. Nany's eye wasn't always on Casey. It was also a little bit with Melissa. They did a truth or dare. Anissa kissed Jenny, and then Nany kissed Melissa. And then at the bar scene, I remember the bar scene with Nany and Melissa kissing. That was in the trailer before the season, and then that was ultimately taken out. I feel as though it would have been in the seasons in the past, and those episodes were an hour long. We had an hour and a half of all these episodes, and we didn't get as much as we did, as we see a whole bunch of stuff being taken out. Angela found a challenge fan account or T account talking about a rumor of Nelson and Dee hooking up within the bunker, and it was Nelson's birthday, and he's thinking that he's gonna get a nice message from his girlfriend at the time, and then they have a huge fight for 5 minutes, and then they have to hang up. That is terrible, but of course that was taken out because of the editing of Dee out of all of the challenges. Corey was shocked about the news of Zach and Jenna's engagement, and they showed his Instagram post. And then Corey called Zach a baby at one point, which gives Corey a couple of cool points in my book. I think just as a challenge fan and somebody who's watched the challenge and knows Zach and Jenna's relationship, I was surprised. And before the Total Madness even came out, before that whole situation of I want you to come home so we can talk about this whole situation, I think I was shocked because it wasn't too long ago we had them both on War of the Worlds, and that whole Bumble situation happened. We saw the manipulation and the toxic relationship aspect of their relationship, which we've seen multiple times on multiple seasons of on the challenge. So to me, I was shocked as well, but Corey was definitely shocked. Corey goes on to deny the rumors that it was anything that had to do with him and Jenna that made Zach act that way or anything like that. And of course, Jenna gets on there saying that after being eliminated, she came home, they worked it out, they went to a couple of therapy sessions, and then everything is water under the bridge. Of course, Jenna is saying that everything is great, everything is smooth nowadays, so great job for them. Then we come back from commercial break, and Nelson is talking about how miserable he was after the Cold War daily challenge. Of course he was. He had to go to the hospital. Then we get into more of how Big T hurt herself and hurting her toe, which ultimately led to her medically DQing from the season. People were talking to her in her inebriated state after she got into her top bunk and then said that, hey, Maddie is looking to fight you. So then Big T decides to jump down, going after Maddie. However, they got her back up into her bunk and her toe was bleeding. They're trying to get her ready. Big T really wants to look sexy because doctors are sexy, and hey, when you hurt yourself and you're going to the hospital and you're thinking, hey, I gotta take my shot whenever I got it, this is an opportunity, why not? So she got her wig on, she wanted her heels, but they got her some boots, and then they put her in the car and she went off to the hospital. Then we move on to a fight between Nelson and Swaggy. This is where the house vote was, when everybody was talking about how Nelson said, hey, if you don't say my name, I won't say your name, and that whole situation happened. He sees Bayleigh as the one that started that whole situation and really blew up his game. So when at the kitchen, Nelson and Swaggy are talking. Swaggy heard that he told a whole bunch of people that Bayleigh was a rat, and of course that is going to get them two into a fight. They get into each other's faces, things were said, things were done, and then they had to be split up. Later on in that day, they talk it out, and Nelson apologizes. We saw that happen throughout the season where he was yelling at Kayla, calling her the foulest woman in the house, then later apologizing. The same with Aneesa after the Fast and Furious daily challenge, when he thought Aneesa threw it on purpose. He was yelling at Aneesa, making her cry, and then later on apologizes for it. So it's just a cycle with Nelson where he blows up in his angered state and then comes back and apologizes for it later on. But I feel as though that we had that fight edited out because they kept on saying wife. Swaggy would say wife multiple times throughout that fight. Nelson said, oh, that's what I said about your wife. So the term wife was used a ton, and I think that their relationship or their marriage status wasn't out in the public yet, so they wanted to nix that out of the final edit, and possibly that it didn't really lead to anything further down the line within the house, so they were okay to edit that out. We missed a phone conversation, FaceTime conversation between Kayla and her friend Nicole, where Nicole talked about how she talked to her ex-boyfriend at the time, Mikey, saying, hey, did you wish Kayla a happy birthday? And then Mikey said, hey, I know that Kayla cheated on me with Bear. And then Kayla goes on to say how she was a lot more relieved than, say, frustrated or upset that Mikey knew. She felt relieved that he knew. Then we go into the fails of the season. We relive the multiple math failures of everybody within the season, and we relive Kyle and Nelson's run on the drift bowling daily challenge of that season. And then we finally find out that the bus rides were probably the worst part of the whole challenge season. The singing was loud, there was yelling on the bus. Bayleigh said she was puked on twice, which is absolutely disgusting. They talk about a story that happened where they were on the bus ride heading over to a castle for drinks. They took a 3-hour bus ride down there. Josh got hammered. Then on the bus ride back, he threw up the whole ride back, which is absolutely miserable in my opinion. Being on a bus absolutely just smelling like puke, and that just seems so gross. This segment with them talking about it kind of made me miss the bus ride cams that we got throughout the seasons beforehand. Like, we used to get that all the time. We would have fights on the bus. We had people yelling, doing disses on the bus. I mean, I remember back in like Dirty 30 and all those that we would have the bus ride cams and people making out and doing all these things within the bus. And we didn't get any of that this season, which I'm kind of upset about, but we didn't get that in War of the Worlds either, or War of the Worlds 2. So it kind of makes sense why we're not getting it, and maybe we haven't had it for a while. It just, to me, talking about this, doing this segment on this reunion part 2 made me think of the old bus ride clips and everything that happened. We locked this up by talking about how Nany lost a veneer in the bar, and that if you, for some reason, want to go back and ever rewatch this season, for whatever reason, you can try to pinpoint when Nany lost her veneer in that season. The only thing that was left up in this segment, in this show, was everybody talking about their final thoughts about how tough the season was, that they had a fun time within this season, but they really want to come back and really compete and all that good stuff. But that is it for The Challenge Season 35 Total Madness Reunion Part 2 Behind the Madness. And this was the final review and recap of The Challenge Total Madness season. I can't believe we have made it this far. It is absolutely over. We were getting many advertisements and commercials for Catfish, which is going to be taking the place of the 8 o'clock portion of MTV from here on out. I can't believe it's over. And I have to say that tomorrow's video is the final table talk for The Challenge Season 5 Total Madness, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing that I did last week for the reunion part 1, and I'm giving it all to you guys in the comment section. So what did you think about this reunion Behind the Madness? Let me know that in the comment section below. What did you think about it? Which segment did you wish that they should have put into the actual TV show? Let me know that in the comment section below. And also, would you like to have this kind of segment happening after every single season? Because it's very much similar to what they used to do in the older seasons of the challenge, and then they got rid of it, and now they're bringing it back, it seems, maybe for this season only. But would you rather like to see this kind of segment on the shows and after every season? Let me know that in the comment section below. And anything and everything you want to say about The Challenge Total Madness in general, let me know in the comment section below, because this is it. This is over. It is done after this. It's done after tomorrow. I'm pretty much not making any more Total Madness videos, but I'm going to be making a lot more challenge content within the off season. Big Brother is supposedly starting soon, maybe. Hopefully, there's a lot of speculation around that, but I'll have a lot of reality TV videos, a lot of general videos, and challenge videos coming out very, very soon. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more stuff. But until then, peace.